stopping in for another episode of I Want That Reviews. My name's Chris, and today we're going to be taking a look at the two-stage match trigger from Wilson Combat. Now, I've got this one here today, as well as the Timmy two-stage. They are very similar in the fact that they're both 4-pound pulls, but they are very, very different triggers. It retails for $269.95. Like I said, this one is the two-stage trigger. They do have single stage, and they have some other options available. You can take a look at those at their website. They advertise this as having a 1-minute install. No adjustment screws or any loose parts to lose. It's a self-contained trigger unit that drops in and is ready to go in less than a minute. All parts are CNC and or EDM cut from solid bar stock. The hammer, trigger, and disconnect are made of a H13 steel that's nearly indestructible, and then are heat treated for extended life. It's advertised as having a positive trigger reset for quick follow-up shots, and it also features Wilson's half-cock feature so that it's drop safe. If something should happen and you drop this guy, it's going to fall up against that every time, and you don't have to worry about a negligent discharge. Now, for my initial impressions, when I got it and unpackaged it, I was impressed. The blister pack was simple. It contained the trigger and 2 new trigger pins that you can use. I thought it was beautifully made. It's designed very different, has very different moving parts inside of it, so if you're familiar with a standard two-stage, this doesn't work exactly like that. It's got a proprietary system that Wilson works with. I thought it had a very nice finish, and it seems like it's tighter than the Timney. There's not quite as much play in it before I pull the trigger. I also noticed that there's an engraving on the side of it, M2, that indicates that it's their match trigger. Now, as far as installation and use goes, the install was ridiculously easy. It took me longer to remove the Timney than it did for me to do everything with the install for the Wilson Combat. The Timney requires you to loosen up 2 tension screws, remove your selector switch, and then take out your pins and take it out and go from there. Wilson Combat uses a system, a couple springs that go on the bottom that provide tension. All you do is drop this guy in. It'll actually angle in underneath your selector switch. Once you've got it in there, you just provide some downward pressure on that like that, and the pins slide right in. The Wilson Combat actually has 2 captive springs in the side of it that your pins will lock into and keep it in place. So you actually, there's no need for anti-walk pins, there's no need for adjustment screws. So I went ahead and used my pull gauge with this a number of times, and it was always right around 4 pounds. It's right on the dot. 4 pounds is my preference for trigger weight, so I'm very pleased with that. So the pull here, once you get your index finger on there and give it a little bit of pull, that's all there is for the first stage. It's very short, extremely short, and I was very impressed with that. Once you take up the 2 pounds for that initial pull, another 2 pounds breaks it, and it's clean. I've explained before how trigger brakes are like a glass rod brake. Compared to the Timney, compared to a lot of the other triggers that I've used, the Wilson Combat really stands apart. There is something that's even more clean about it, and that is something that I was just absolutely floored by. Once it breaks, there's almost zero over travel. That also leads into your reset. So you have your hammer reset, and then the release is right there. There's almost no movement. It is fast, tactile, and audible, and it's just absolutely incredible. I've got some footage here that you can take a look at, but you can see that there's so little reset, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I was also very impressed with the finish on the trigger shoe itself. I'm personally a big fan of finishing that happens along the face of your trigger. The rounded edges, the very smooth face. I also like that the shape is a little more similar to a mil-spec trigger. It's got more curvature to it, where the Timney is a little more straight. So with that, we'll go ahead and talk about likes. The finish is very nice on it. I was very impressed with the overall smoothness and just design, the cut. There's no real sharp edges. It's very well finished. I really like the brake on it. It brakes clean, it brakes crisp every time. 4 pounds, it's just fantastic. And then the reset, short, tactile, audible every time. It's just fantastic. Just overall, the first stage travel, the next to zero over travel, and then the next to zero reset, those are big things for me. Also, I really like how easy it was to install. Real simple there. No screws to lose, no screws to adjust, just a little bit of pressure, put the pins in, you're good to go. As far as dislikes, it's a little expensive. Like I said, it's got that $269 price tag. It is towards the top of the spectrum when you look at pricing for AR triggers. That's going to be kind of detrimental for some budget builders or people along those lines. I would say if you're considering saving the money for it, it's absolutely worth it, but it's definitely going to be something that will present a bit of a financial challenge for some people. The other dislike that I had about it is that it is a little bit complicated. If for some reason you decide to take this thing apart, it may take a little bit of work to get put back together. It's not your standard trigger design, so if something was to happen, it was to come apart, you might need to contact Wilson for some directions on putting it together. Besides that, there's not a whole lot I dislike about it. And so overall, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I can't fault it enough for the couple things that I found with it to really take it down from that 5-star position. If you know me, you know I am a single stage trigger guy. I always have been. This really has me sold on the 2-stage. With the short take up, that crisp, clean break, and then zero over travel, it's very similar to having a single stage. And I have no intention right now of taking this one out of my rifle. So I'll go ahead and include a link to their website as well as their Facebook page in the description below. As always, thanks so much for watching. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. So please like, subscribe, and share. Hit that subscribe button right there. And just keep checking back on a weekly basis for more reviews of awesome products just like this one that'll make you say, I want that.